everyone, welcome back. We are talking about the Wings of Fire books, and today we are on book 4. I'm here with Avalyn Roselin of Roselin Productions.
Hi.
And let's get started.
Yep. So it's been a while since, not a while time-wise, but because you've already moved on to some of the later books, which I understand.
I couldn't stop.
Same. But yeah, this one's kind of the follow-up to Hidden Kingdom. They're kind of like, you really have to read those back-to-back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, and even the book after this kind of, like Hidden Kingdom, Dark Secret, and Brightest Night all kind of flow together as one story.
Yeah, that's where the plot really kicks up and gets going. Not to say that the Dragonet Prophecy or the Lost Heir aren't really good. They're more character study, though, and a little bit of world building. And then Hidden Kingdom, Darkest Secret, I keep wanting to say Darkest Night. Dark Secret and Brightest Night are the ones that are the meat of the story.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't blame you for not remembering the title of the books. For whatever reason, because Wings of Fire is so big on all the books, I just think of them as like the Starflight book or the Clay book or the Tsunami book.
And they very much are, because of how strong that characterization comes through. You very well could just say the Starflight book and everyone knows what you're talking about, so.
Yeah.
I think I'm just getting it mixed up because I'm pretty sure that the latest Warriors book that's coming out is called The Darkest Night. And I'm like, you guys.
Yeah.
You couldn't have titled it anything else.
Nope. But I mean, it's like anything with dark, night, secret, those are all very common book names. Or just names of anything in general.
Yeah. Yeah, this is book 4 of Wings of Fire, so listeners, it's gonna have spoilers, especially for Hidden Kingdom.
Oh, yes.
So, there's very little we can talk about that doesn't include spoilers.
Yeah, I don't know if there will be necessarily any spoiler warning for this book. I think we're just going to talk about it all. So if you have not read this book yet, please read it and then come back to this.
Yeah, this is, like we said, it's a follow-up to Hidden Kingdom, so if you haven't read Hidden Kingdom, there's so many spoilers for what happens in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so guess we should do the summaries.
Go ahead.
I'm going to do my best from memory. So at the end of Hidden Kingdom, the Dragonets notice that Starflight's gone, and this is because he was actually taken by the Nightwings, and I don't recall if he did that willingly or if he was, legitimately kidnapped.
He thought about doing it, and then he was like, oh no, I'm not brave enough to do that, plus that'd be a really stupid idea, and then he got kidnapped.
And then the Nightwings were like, well, you're gonna.
Yeah.
And once again, Starflight gets kidnapped. And like I said, this happens in every single book in the first arc. The main POV dragon gets separated really early on. And that's kind of sad because I'm more interested in seeing Starflight's interactions with some of the other dragonets, because we all know that he's in love with Sunny. So most of the time when he's thinking about the others, he's focusing his thoughts on her.
Right.
Not all the time, but I could have done with some more interactions with him and Glory or him and Tsunami.
Yeah, same. I mean, you could tell he missed them, but because he was thinking mostly about his feelings for Sunny, it was just a lot of... It just wouldn't be the same if you were getting that interaction between the two characters. And the few times it does come up, you're like, yes, this is so good! Yet again.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of how he treats Clay, but, they're brothers. So
yeah. They're brothers and they're both very, very different.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is Starflight gets to the Hidden Kingdom of the Nightwings, and it's a crapshoot. It's awful. He gets to meet
Oh.
his dad though, and I'm like so torn on Mastermind as a character because I love his personality, but holy crap. And he sees like all these horrible things that the Nightwings are doing to the Rainwings and how they're planning on basically committing genocide and just destroying the Rainwing tribe so they can take over the rainforest. For some reason, it occurs to nobody that they can probably just ask, and the Rainwings won't probably care. But that's
No,
just kind of
they're too proud to do something like that.
yeah, and very much they have that same kind of militaristic ideology that a lot of the other tribes, like the Skywings, do, and to an extent the Sea Wings, like that tribe pride kind of pushes away more practical options that they don't even consider a peaceful solution.
Yeah.
Which is a major theme of this arc. So I think that that's fine, actually, because it's like, yeah, they could just do this really easy thing, but because of the way this world is set up, they're not going to, and it doesn't feel like a plot hole.
Well, yeah, I mean, them to the Nightwings, it probably feels more like, sure, we could ask, but that would never work.
Yeah, and they probably think that the Rainwings would never give it up either, so
yeah,
they just assume that they're going to be as cruel and malicious toward them as they've been toward the Rainwings. So also the fake dragonets are there and are mostly my least favorite characters, except for Fate Speaker, who I could see her being annoying to some people, but I actually kind of like her because she's a really good foil to Starflight, I think. Where she's kind of just just get up and do it, very energetic, somewhat Sunny-esque.
Very spontaneous.
Yeah, like she's not a total copy of Sunny or anything, but you can see that the same qualities he likes about Sunny are present in Fate Speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she was a lot of fun, and it's nice to have her not quite be a love interest. Like, I feel like she will be later down the line.
I feel like they definitely intend for you to think of them as a growing romance.
Yeah, which I'm okay with. Like, I really like Sunny and Starflight together, but I also don't. Because I kind of like Sunny also just kind of doing her own thing as well. Mm-hmm. So I could take it or leave it on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I just want my Starflight to be a happy boy with either of them. I don't care who.
Yeah, like either way, it's fine. Works out.
Yep.
Same relationship dynamic, really. So, but
anyway,
yeah, and then some stuff goes down with the fake dragonets, and one or two of them dies.
Oh, this
as
book
you do in Wings of Fire.
This book is child abuse.
It really is. Awful.
Like, there's just so much child abuse in this book. Somehow more than in the others, and there's been a lot of child abuse up to this point.
Just, the Nightwing Kingdom is a trash fire.
Yeah.
Just actual sulfuric heap. And of course they're on a volcano, and it erupts as the Rainwings are being rescued, I believe.
Yeah.
So the Nightwings have to make a snap decision, and they basically get the hickety heck out of there, and Glory's at the door saying like, well, take this vote for Glory pin and you can live in the rainforest.
Right. I approve of how Glory made them swear their loyalty to her, as they have to choose to either die in a volcanic fiery death or swear fealty and go through the hole.
Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, great, I love Queen Glory. But some of them are cute. Like, one of them is talking to, and I don't think they're ever named, I think it's just like, tagless dialogue. But one of them's like, oh, you'll get to eat mangoes, and like is super hype about it. And I Like, some of the Nightwings are not horrible. Some of them are just, with the conditions of where they were born and how bad things have been and how they've been raised, but not all of them are terrible, so that's nice. Some of them are really excited.
Right. The whole
But it's obvious that this isn't, though.
Yeah, we see in each book how each tribe is so different from each other. But the Nightwings, at least for me, seem to really take the cake.
I could see some of the Nightwings being okay with it,
but I mean, everything about how the Nightwings have had to live on this volcano, and it's just like, it's completely ruined them. And so they've grown to be so bitter, especially when talking about their own powers and stuff, and how, they know they don't have these powers anymore. And how they eat prey.
Oh god, that was gross.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
I'm wondering if this will come back up again, or if the Nightwings are going to change how they eat things after this book.
I don't really think it's been mentioned since.
Okay.
So I think that once they actually do get into the rainforest and breathe, like, good air, I think that bacteria starts probably dying off.
Good. Because that's gross.
Because I have not heard or seen or read anything about that being a thing in the second arc.
Yeah.
It might be off screen, but it's not mentioned. So
good. Poor Nightwings. It's like,
that's nasty.
On one hand, it's like, man, the Nightwings are really evil, but on the other hand, you're like, oh, poor Nightwings.
You can understand their motive, but they are still definitely making the wrong choice.
Right.
And yeah, so
I think,
that's pretty much it as far as summary.
Yeah, should we jump into some of the spoilers revealed in this book?
Oh boy, man, were there some big ones.
Should we start with the big one?
I'll let you drop that hammer.
Okay, so the prophecy is completely made up.
Yep, it's fake.
Okay, now, to me, that was really obvious, and it might be because I'm an older person reading these book series, but like, ever since the first book, I've had this feeling in the back of my mind, like, this prophecy is not real. They made this up. And lo and behold, at the end of this book, they're like, yeah, no, it's completely made up. Although their motive for making up the prophecy really threw me for a loop. I was not expecting this, like, really complicated.
It was very thought out.
Yes.
And I was on board with the prophecy in the first book because I was, the whole thing about, well, there's no Skywing, how are they going to do it? I was really interested in that, and I was like, that's a really good twist on the prophecy plot. Having this prophecy that, by definition, literally cannot come true now, but they're still trying. That was really interesting to me, and I was more than willing to go along with that. But once they introduced the fake dragonets, I was like, okay, this is an entire fabrication. Like, I'm pretty sure that the reader is supposed to realize, once the fake dragonets come in, that this prophecy probably isn't a real thing. And how each dragonet reacts to that is very telling of their own characters. And I think it definitely plays a lot into how each book kind of opens with how they feel about the prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like even though that only gets revealed in this book, when everybody reacts to finding out that the prophecy isn't real, you're like, yeah, that definitely makes sense why they feel that way.
Yeah,
for most of them,
heavy.
It's a relief.
Yeah, like, I think Tsunami's, like, pissed about it.
Yeah, she's like, you mean I had to grow up in that cave, that stupid cave away from my family, For a prophecy that isn't even real.
Yeah, for nothing. And I mean, it kind of gives legitimacy to some of the way the other dragons have reacted, because there's a lot of dragons, a lot of adults that don't believe in the prophecy, like Queen Coral doesn't give a crap about it. She's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And better prophecies in her books.
Yeah.
So she's like, that seems fake. So yeah, the prophecy was a big fat lie all along.
Yeah, but the whole motive. So like, okay, I'm trying to remember the whole plan here. Is that they make up this prophecy. They get these dragonets, and then by the end of the war, the Nightwings will come in and join a side, and because the Nightwings are so awesome, they'll stop the war. They're ergo making the prophecy true.
Yeah, and they like used scientific calculations to figure out, when the brightest night was going to be, and like the probability of there being a red mudwing egg, and a lot of work went into this.
Yeah.
Let's give them that.
Like, oh, good job, Morrowseer, you asshole.
God, what a douche.
Yeah. And then the hope is that whoever they help would give them a new territory to live in.
Yeah, like I think Blister made a deal with them to help them invade the rainforest, which is why there's a tunnel to the Sandwing Kingdom.
Yeah.
Because I think they were pretty dead set on the rainforest. They just needed some kind of ally to help them invade.
Yeah. They
found out about the Rainwing venom, and they're like, crap, we can't do anything about that.
They're like, oh, the Rainwings will be easy to take over, and then one of them Rainwings spits venom, and they're like, well, okay, time to rethink about this. We've got to come up with a really complicated
Yeah, they're like, oh man, we can't just go in there.
Yeah.
Because they don't really have ranks to spare at this point. I mean, they have barely any dragonets being born.
Yeah.
Like, it's... I know that I usually only talk about what's in this particular book, but I did actually read the winglets, including the one about Deathbringer.
Uh-huh.
And they make mention that, like, almost nobody in the Nightwing Kingdom has more than one child. And even having one child is, like, a big deal.
Oh, wow.
Which is why Mastermind, when he meets Starflight, is like, I have a son, look at him, he's so handsome and beautiful, look at my baby. Morrowseer, you don't have any babies yet, right? Look at my baby.
Look at my beautiful son.
Like, I love Mastermind, but also I hate him.
Mastermind. Yeah. Mastermind's so proud of his son, but he's also such a dick.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, it wasn't the Deathbringer one, it was the Fierce Teeth one. Because Fierce Teeth is Starflight's half-sister.
Oh, yeah.
And she was, like, so mad.
Yeah, Fierce Teeth. You don't get to know a whole lot about the Nightwings themselves. Starflight and Fate Speaker kind of seclude themselves from a lot that's going on. The only other characters I feel like in the Nightwing Kingdom that you really get to know more about is Queen Battlewinter, her daughter Greatness, and Morrowseer.
Yeah, and I thought Battlewinter was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Like that was awesome. Let's just pour one out for Battlewinter.
Just the way she's described and like everything that she's been through and like the way they describe her voice crackling like that is so interesting. I could visualize everything that was going on in those scenes.
Yeah, just everything about Queen Battlewinter is so cool, and I want it.
Although she's really dense during this whole, like, rainforest thing. Because even when Starflight figures out that what they're trying to do is take over the Rainwing Kingdom, I'm like, okay, but how's Queen Battlewinter supposed to get there?
I think that she was more acting out of desperation than anything, because I think she knew that there was no way for her to go, but she was so desperate to remain leader of their tribe because greatness is so obviously unfit.
Yeah,
and just
true.
desperate to not be left alone there to die. Because, I mean, she can't hunt. People have to be bringing her food. So
yeah, that's true. Well, and they do establish that Mastermind was trying to work on a suit of armor for her that would, like, continuously flow lava through there.
That's impossible.
Yeah, it was like,
It's like, that's how desperate she was, I think, because I do believe that at some point during the Fierce Teeth novel, or the Fierce Teeth novella, a lot of the younger ones are like, why aren't we already moving? And that's a big part, I think, of why. Because no one knows about Battlewinter's situation.
Right. She keeps herself a secret. And yeah, it's like, Mastermind, the only way you're going to make that work is if you're an animus dragon, because that would literally take magic to work.
Yeah, like, well, using animus magic just to heal her, and then going from there. But yeah, that leads me into a talking point that I wanted to get into, because I have headcanons.
Oh.
And so a lot of people in the fandom after this book came out likened the Nightwings to the Nazis, which I can 100% understand and see that because of the experimentation that they're doing, the fact that they're planning to commit a genocide against what is considered racially inferior group. So yeah, I can definitely understand why fans would compare the Nightwings to Nazi Germany, given that they are very, very much, how to put it in the right terms, their sense of pride in...
They're very elitist.
Yeah, they're super elitist. They think that they are the best type of dragon, which most tribes do, but like they really take it up a notch, and they have a lot of pride issues. They're doing experiments on these dragons. They're preparing to invade what is considered a racially inferior group and exterminate them, because they'd have no intentions of peacefully sharing the rainforest. They're going to go in and wipe the Rainwing tribe out entirely. So I can definitely see it. There's a lot of, Nazi-esque imagery about that. But I would actually argue that they're more like World War II Japan for just a few reasons. The primary one being that they're an island nation, technically, that's invading a mainland group specifically for physical resources that they do not have, which was a big motivation for Japan invading China. And they also were very, they had that racial superiority complex just as much as Nazi Germany did. And they were definitely going in there to exterminate the Chinese. Like, they wanted that land. They were going to take all of it and just get rid of anyone who was not Japanese. So I think that lines up maybe a little bit better with the intentions of the Nightwings, where it was definitely racially, but not solely racially motivated. And also the fact that Queen Battlewinter is never seen or heard by the Nightwings. This big bombastic leader like Hitler was, where he's very charismatic and always out there making speeches. The Emperor of Japan was never seen or heard. In fact, the first and only time a lot of people heard his voice was when Japan surrendered. So that, I think, lines up a little bit better with Battlewinter. And of course, this is probably all coincidence. Who knows if Sutherland intended for them to be read that way. But that's kind of the vibe that I got, was like, okay, this is World War II era Japan. And
well, and who knows, maybe it could have very well been inspired from both.
yeah, it could have been a fusion. So,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that the Japanese did do some experimentation, but I don't think it was anywhere near as extensive as the Nazis. Like I would definitely still say that Mastermind is supposed to kind of have that sort of Mengele vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say so. And of course, luckily since this is a children's book, it never shows you exactly how dark or twisted, this kind of subject matter can be.
Yeah,
Like
just
the
holy
worst
Christ.
the worst the Nightwings really do to the captured Ringwings is like, okay, they trap them and lock them up in cells and make it so they can't fly or open their mouths to spit venom. And are being forced to spit venom for Mastermind to test it. But other than that, like, obviously they're not keeping great care of them, but it's definitely not showing you how dark this could get.
Yeah, they're not doing super crazy, just doing it for the hell of it kind of experiments on them, which is at least not as bad as it could have been, I guess, but still really awful.
Right.
The volcano itself is just a horrible place for any dragon to be, but especially the Rainwings.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the Rainwings, especially these. Like, I know we're not really supposed to like the alternative dragonets, but you can't help but feel sorry for them. Like, holy crap.
Having to be brought here, and especially like Fate Speaker and to an extent Starflight, who were expecting the Nightwing Kingdom to be this like beautiful like palace full of knowledge and greatness and all these accomplishments, and then they get there and it's just a rock on fire.
Yeah. And it's like, yes, the other Nightwings go to school, but it makes it sound like a lot of their previous knowledge has been lost, and most of the things that they learn about in school is how to quote unquote be a Nightwing by showing off all these or like trying to fool other dragons into believing these lies.
Yeah, and like they can't leave until they're 10 years old, which must really suck.
Right. Can't be healthy either.
Yeah, it's horrible and it's killing them, and yeah, you can understand why they're so desperate to get away from it all, but what they're doing to get away from it is so deplorable that you really got to feel for Starflight when he's got to face his friends again after they see all this, and he's like, oh god, please do not equate me to these dragons.
Right. Well, and we've spent the entire book series, being told how awesome Nightwings are, and they're so mysterious, and
Nightwings are gonna save us all.
Yeah. They're really just garbage people.
They're awful, and you can see why they're awful, but that doesn't mean that they're not awful.
Right. And it also doesn't mean that they can't be redeemed, because a lot of them aren't acting out of like they aren't acting evil just to be evil for evil's sake. They're acting evil because, they feel desperate and they feel like they're cornered and they have to do this to survive.
Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to, and what makes them compelling is that this is needlessly cruel, but it's needlessly cruel because they gotta live.
And right, they feel like their survival is on the line.
And it very much is, because that volcano could go off at any time, and then it does at the end of the book. And
man, they're lucky that they kidnapped Starflight, because that volcano wasn't supposed to go off for another year, 2 years.
I think they said it could have gone anywhere from the next day to like, I don't remember, I don't have it in front of me, but it was definitely within the next couple years.
Well, but I mean, that's why they set it up so that it's like the prophecy was 20 years after the war, because then the dragonets would be like just old enough for them to realistically accomplish this.
Yeah, and they were really just biding time until they were ready to, until they'd made their preparations. They were supposed to have the suit for Battle Winter by then, but obviously that was never going to work.
No.
So yeah, you learn a lot of interesting things in this book. I think that this book sets up the Nightwings to be some of the best antagonists in most of children's literature, I would say. Like, the antagonists are always the fun parts of the books, but this is like almost borderline depressing.
Right, because they aren't like, say, like Blister or Burn, where it's like there's just really nothing redeemable about them. Or even Scarlet, Queen Scarlet, where it's just like, oh, she's just pure evil. Uh, but
Yeah,
the Nightwings have arguably done stuff that's way worse than all three of those characters, and yet they're way more redeemable as well.
yeah, and I think what it comes down to is choice, because a lot of the Nightwings, I think, would be okay with peacefully coexisting with the Rainwings, but they're not allowed to, so they're kind of forced to be evil. Whereas you get dragons like Burn and Scarlet who are choosing to be evil. There's no rhyme or reason why they have to act like that. They just do because they enjoy it. I don't think any of the Nightwings particularly enjoy hurting the Rainwings or enjoy the idea of committing genocide, but they just view it as a necessary evil.
Yeah.
Like, even Mastermind doing his experiments, he's kind of got himself in this bubble of, okay, I'm doing this for the science, I'm doing this for the science. This probably doesn't really hurt them. And
well, and that's the thing, is I don't think they, because they've been told from birth how superior they are to everyone else, I honestly don't think that they even put the other tribe's feelings into the equation. Like, for Mastermind, it is just about the science. When he's talking to Glory, Queen Glory, about, being able to come, and he's all scared. He's like, oh, but, what are you going to do to me? Like, I've done all these experiments. He's not thinking about, oh no, I've hurt these dragons. Now they're going to seek revenge on me. He's saying, oh no, I've done things that are going to make them mad at me. Like, it's still just about himself.
yeah, which is arguably maybe even scarier than some of these other examples. Because, like Scarlet and Burn hurt dragons for the fun of it, but at least they're aware that they are hurting dragons, and that's why they like it. Mastermind doesn't even seem to be aware that he's causing pain, or he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He is kind of a coward. Not even kind of, he's a coward.
Well, Starflight had to get it from somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Going back to Starflight, we get another dream visitor in this book. And I want to mention this because, we'll be talking about the rest of the books. But it's just like, this dream visitor ends up going missing, and I'm waiting for it to show back up.
Yeah, there's a total of 3 of them, and I can't remember now who all. I know Scarlet's got one.
Yeah, we know that Scarlet has one by this point, because she used it to talk to Glory. And then Starflight found one inside the castle.
And then there's a third one floating around. I don't remember who has them.
I think that they mentioned in this one, Starflight was saying that the third dream visitor was lost when Queen Oasis died.
Oh, that's right. Because I think she had one. Because the Sandwings had a lot of treasure. They had a lot of really cool stuff in their treasury that got stolen. They had Animus touched objects that got stolen. So that's going to come back.
Yeah.
But that'll have to wait for next time.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I feel like we just kind of rambled our way through this one, but
well, I've got
a
couple more.
It's really hard to talk about.
Yeah, because it's yet again kind of an in-between book. But a whole other scene, a couple of scenes I wanted to talk about is more with the fake dragonets.
Oh, Jesus.
Because, oh man, the stuff about them in this book is so heartbreaking, even if you don't like them. Because, like, when Marosier makes them fly all the way back to the mainland and try to convince those Skywings that they are the dragonets of prophecy or destiny or whatever.
And they're just like, no, we definitely know that the Sea Wing was a girl.
Yeah, whoops. But it doesn't matter because they were only there to kill them all and take their stuff.
Yeah.
And then, like...
It's kind of ironic.
Yeah, and then just the way, like, Squib is... Wait, his name's not Squib, it's Squid.
Squid, yeah.
Squid is... It's like, fine, you don't want to do this anymore? Go home. Fly home, Squid. It's like, damn, Marosier. You asshole.
Honestly, that was probably the best thing for him, though.
Yeah, so long as he didn't just die somewhere.
I don't think so.
No, I think by the end of this book, or maybe it's in the next book, whoops, for spoilers, if so, but he's fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's, at some point later in the series, I'm pretty sure it's mentioned that he is in the Sea Wing Kingdom, so he's okay.
Well, I think he's back with the Talons of Peace. With his dad.
Or the ex. Yeah, he's fine. He makes it out okay. For once.
Yeah.
For once, they don't kill a character that they could very easily kill off, which they tend to do.
And it's thanks... yeah. And
I'm
it's
still
thanks
mad about
to the fake dragonets of destiny that Starflight finally has to kind of be like, okay, I can't sit on my thumbs anymore. I've got to do something. And that's when Marosier forces them to fight Starflight, and Viper ends up scratching Flame and poisoning him, and then falling in lava and dying. And
good job, Viper. 10 out of 10.
Poor Viper.
Except for Fate Speaker.
Yeah. Oh,
who
poor
has deluded herself into thinking that they're friends.
Oh. She's so sweet.
Fate Speaker deserved to, like, be with the other dragonets.
Yeah. She really just wanted some friends.
I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. But, yeah, I find it ironic that in the end, the behavior that they had earlier in the book where wherever they went, they were like, we're the dragonets of destiny. And that was objectively stated to be a bad idea because it got them captured a bunch. It was actually what kind of saves them from being replaced by these other dragonets. Because now they've been seen, they're known. Like, everyone kind of knows, even if they didn't see them, like, word travels through the grapevine, and they're like, okay, so it's like a blue girl Sea Wing and a Sandwing that doesn't look quite right, and the Mudwing and the Nightwing are boys, and, like, they kind of... And no one's seen the Skywing. So there's these vague descriptions probably floating around so that when these other dragonets show up claiming to be them, they're like, that doesn't really quite match what I heard. And they don't buy it.
Right. Even though, technically, there is a dragonet of destiny there.
Yeah, Starflight.
Poor Starflight. Yeah. And I mean, and I think it yet again just shows off the strength of the character, and yes, or of our main characters. And yes, there isn't a prophecy that has destined them for this, but they are obviously destined to do something.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned, I think, as far back as the Dragonet prophecy that the Talons of Peace were going to make this prophecy happen, and they're very still on the path, or they're very much still on the path to that with, you know, the whole thing about prophecies is that you believe in them. So if the other dragons of the world still believe in this prophecy, even if it's fake, and they still believe in these dragonets, even if they don't actually have any special abilities, then it could still work.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that adding the fake dragonets of destiny is a good move on Sutherland's writing, because it shows that our main characters are equipped to handle this prophecy not because they were forced into doing this, but because they themselves are strong enough to handle it. They have the moral fortitude to tackle this challenge.
Yeah, it is very good. Character foiling, as well as showing just how strong the main dragonets are, because they don't know what they're doing, but they have it a lot better together than most other dragons.
Right. And also, she brings up another good point of, like, even though these dragonets have grown up with each other and are used to each other, well, the fake dragonets of destiny grew up with each other too, but they all still hate each other. So the camaraderie between our main 5 characters isn't forced.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't necessarily know exactly how the fake dragonets were brought up, but we do know from Kestrel that the main dragonets were never encouraged to get along this way.
Yeah.
So they got along anyway, because that's just who they are. And these fake dragonets probably had a lot of the same upbringing, but didn't get along because I think they each thought that, like, they were the one that was going to resolve the prophecy, because Flame has a really inflated sense of self-importance because he is the Skywing who, cannot have any other alternative to him because he's the only Skywing. And Squid had his dad being the leader of the Talons of Peace, so they kind of had all these individual pride things.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
even Fate Speaker, who would make up prophecies just to feel important.
Yeah, it's like they each kind of had this inflated sense of self-importance, whereas the real dragonets, real and,
Yeah.
like the prophecy was real ever anyway, they don't really seem to do that. Like, they don't put their own pride above anything.
Yeah, no. They're very much team players, and just the fact that so many of the other dragons, countless times throughout these books, they've gone back to help each other, to care for each other, and that's always thrown everyone off their trail because they don't expect dragons to act like that.
Poor Fate Speaker again, though. I think there's one point where she said, oh, of course, or I think that Marosier orders them to kill her. And she said, my friends would never do that, as they advance on her to kill her.
I know. Oh, it was so, like, I felt bad for the fake dragonets, but yet it was so gratifying when Viper smacked Flame across the face, and Marosier's just like, no, not the Skywing!
Yeah, like, I think that Flame and Fate Speaker and Squid, Fate Speaker doesn't even really need to be redeemed necessarily, but I think that Flame and Squid could be redeemed, and maybe Viper could have if she hadn't died, but Ochre was just such a non-entity.
Oh gosh, I forgot about Ochre, yeah.
Exactly. I have the hardest time remembering. I don't even remember if Ochre's a boy or a girl.
Oh. I don't remember. Oh, I feel bad now.
Just barely there.
Yeah, all Ochre cared about was his next meal and sleeping.
It's like Dark Clay.
Yeah. This is the bad timeline of Clay.
A lot of them are like the bad timeline of the other dragonets. Like Viper being just brutal and vicious, where Sunny is peaceful and caring. Squid being kind of a pushover, where Tsunami is the strength of the group.
Well, yeah, he's not just a pushover, too. He's like...
a whiny pushover.
Yeah, he's just a whiner.
Like, no leadership potential whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I gotta like that his dad legitimately cares about him. Like, I think that at one point his dad is like, oh, can't they see what a precious child he is, like I do? And I don't know. That might be the prologue of the next book that I'm thinking of. But yeah,
maybe.
like I know at some point, I forget his dad's name, but I know at some point he's like, oh, my precious.
Nautilus?
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's Nautilus. But like anytime there's a good parent in this series, I just melts my heart. I love good parent-child relationships. There's so few
good parents in this series, so yeah, it's like when there's one parent who's like, "Oh, look at my baby," you're just like, "Oh, how precious."
I could probably list on my remaining good hand how many good parents there are, or at least well-intentioned parents there are, because some of them, like Queen Coral, clearly she loves her children, but you know she's not really a good parent.
Yeah,
but she's well-intentioned.
Yeah. Well, all right, we've got to wrap this book up. I've got to get going here pretty soon. But I was just gonna say a few things. Other things. We had the prologue, which was about the blah 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 Clay's Mudwing siblings getting attacked by the ice wings, and then at the end of that, they're just talking about, you know, like, oh man, we really hope Clay and the other dragonets can do it. And I think, yet again, that's also just nice world building and showing how like desperate the situation is. It takes you outside of the drama that's just taking place for the dragonets, and also gives you a taste of what the war has been like.
Yeah, it's been a tough... Anytime anything bad happens to Clay's siblings, I'm like, no.
Oh, yeah. And then, if I remember correctly, yes, and then the epilogue. The epilogue is just ramping everything up to 10, because it's just all three of the sisters saying, like, it's time to kill the dragonets. They've been a thorn in my side for too long. Or in Blaze's case, it's Queen Glacier being like, I'm going to kill the dragonets.
I ship it. I ship Glacier and Blaze, and I'm not afraid to admit that. But yeah,
and I guess there's
days
one other. Yeah, I guess there's one other thing to talk about too. Starflight at the end of this book. Marrowseer dies, so that's
Marrowseer's wasted. A lot of people thought he might still be alive, but then there's a book in Arc 2 that confirms that he is deader than dead.
Yeah.
So, he's gone. He is not coming back. He's not pulling a Scarlet. He's gone.
Yeah, I kind of wondered because the book wrapped up really fast. I will say that.
I was unsure at the end where like Starflight talks about having the pain across his face. I was like, what happened? And then in the next book, he's blind.
Yeah, and they even there's a line here, and I know I can pull it up really fast, so I'll go to it.
How could you do this to the scroll-loving dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they'll invent Braille.
Here we go. A second later, Starflight's scales were blasted with heat as if he'd fallen in lava. A stab of blazing agony went through both eyes, and he closed them with a howl of pain. And then Clay protects him, and then it has a sentence that says, he felt the warmth of her scales that he'd know anywhere, even with his eyes closed. Or ... blind. And he felt her press close to him for a moment and whisper, but why did it sound like Fate Speaker's voice? Starflight, you were so brave. So yeah. And And I figured from that, I'm like, oh no, is he blind? But yeah.
Yep, confirmed. He had lost his sight. I don't know if he got hit by anything or if it was just the brightness of the flash from the fire. But yep.
They make it's not crystal clear what exactly happened, but they make it sound like it was a bright light and then like the heat came flooding in, and then Clay like wrapped his wings around him to protect him, but he didn't quite get to him in time.
Yeah, I think that, well, whatever happened, he is blind now. And I'm always willing to congratulate a book that's willing to take that kind of risk on permanently altering a character in some way that is going to make it harder for them to do certain things, because that takes guts.
Yeah, for sure. And gosh, and with Starflight being the one who loves to read,
just makes it so much worse. But
it just makes it even more sad. Yeah, they need to invent Braille stat.
Well, especially because he was going to teach the Rainwings how to read, and now he can't.
Aww. I'm just so sad.
But yeah,
so sad for my poor librarian boy.
But yeah, just to wrap up, this was a really good book. The pacing in the beginning was a little bit slow, but then it goes so fast at the end that, you know, you can forgive it for a little bit of slow buildup as they're trying to figure out what's going on in the Nightwing Kingdom and who they should be talking to. Because for a while they're trying to talk to someone about how, you know, badly they're being treated and stuff, and they're trying to call out Marosir on something or other, and I'm like, that's not gonna amount to anything. No one's gonna care. But they still, like, they're trying to find Battle Winner to talk to her. So that takes up some time, and that goes a little bit slow. But other than that, it's really solid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, all these books have done a great job of showing character growth so far, and this book is no exception to that.
I think Starflight probably has had the most development out of any of the main dragonets so far.
Yeah, for sure. His definitely feels like a complete character arc to the end of this book.
Left nothing wanting. So yeah, this one I think was one of my favorites. I mean, they're all one of my favorites, but I really enjoyed that they went there with this one. I think this one has pushed the most boundaries since the Dragonet Prophecy. The Dragonet Prophecy pushed a lot of boundaries with the amount of violence it had, and this one, I think, pushed a lot of boundaries with showing the kind of mental horrors that were possible.
Yeah, I think both this book and the next book, and of course some of the books that come after this, but with this one, I know there were several times where some little development would happen, or something would get revealed, or someone would say something, and I would just close the book for just a second and be like, oh boy.
Yeah, they really go there, and I always appreciate when books are willing to go there.
Yeah.
So yeah, good book.
Yeah, another fantastic book. And next time, we will be here talking about the last book of the first arc, which is The Brightest Night.
We finally get Sunny.
Woohoo!
I was waiting for her for so long.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us this time, guys. Be sure to check out Avalon's channel, because this will be up on my channel this time. So be sure to check out her channel, where she has some of the other Wings of Fire reviews, and the next one will be up on hers. So
yep, I have all the odd numbers, you have all the even numbers.
Yeah.
And then Legends Darkstalker will figure it out.
Yeah. All right, well, see you guys next time.
Bye.